In modern times, heaven basically has two definitions. The first is the hereafter, where you go after you die, and the second is the sky above the earth. But although the first definition seems more religious, it's actually not biblical at all. In the Bible, no one who dies goes to heaven. Only two people go to heaven, Elijah and Jesus, and they don't die. While they're still alive, their bodies are physically raised up towards the sky. So when the Bible speaks about heaven, it simply means the sky. And according to the Bible, the sky is a solid dome that covers the earth, made from a material like metal. As you can read in Job, can you like him spread out the skies, hard as a cast metal mirror? And the word translated as skies here is the exact same Hebrew that is translated as heaven in other passages. And because the sky or heaven is a solid object, it can prevent the water which is on top of heaven from flooding the earth, unless God opens the floodgates of heaven. Now the sun, moon and stars were thought to be attached to the bottom of heaven. And because these move in an arch through the sky every day, heaven was thought to be the shape of to have the shape of a dome. And that idea was not unique to the ancient Jews. Many ancient peoples actually had the same idea. Here's an ancient Greek depiction of heaven, for example. It's held up by the Titan Atlas, and as you can see, heaven is a physical structure shaped like a dome. And in ancient Egypt, they had the same idea. Here's a two-dimensional depiction of the universe. And the man lying on the bottom is the Egyptian god of the earth, and the woman arching over him is the goddess of heaven. So earth is represented as a flat plane, and heaven as an arch covering it. And according to Old Norse cosmology, heaven was the skull of a giant. And the skull is obviously also dome-shaped. As you can read in the Prose Edda, they took his skull also and made of it the heaven and set it up over the earth. So it makes a lot of sense that the ancient Jews had the same view with heaven as a dome, high above the earth in the center, but at sea level at the edge. Now, heaven is above the earth, but it's actually pretty low. According to Genesis 11, heaven could be reached just by building a high tower. And they said, "Come, let us build a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens." And God actually had to sabotage them by making the builders speak different languages, or otherwise they would have actually succeeded. And because the stars are attached to the bottom of heaven, if heaven is relatively low, that means the stars are relatively near, and therefore relatively small. And that explains the passages in the Bible where the stars fall down to earth, like Revelation. And the stars of heaven fell to the earth, as a fig tree drops its late figs when it's shaken by a mighty wind. Now, in the modern worldview, stars are very far away and therefore also very big, far bigger than the Earth. So it would be impossible for multiple stars to fall down on the Earth. And according to the Bible, rain falls down from heaven. So rain actually falls down from above the stars. Yahweh will open the heavens, the storehouse of his bounty, to send rain on your land in season. And God can also drop hail and snow. Have you entered the storehouses of the snow, or seen the storehouses of the hail, which are reserved for times of trouble, for days of war and battle? And these storehouses are obviously also in heaven, just like the storehouse of rain. And God can theoretically drop down anything from heaven, like bread, for example. Then Yahweh said to Moses, "I will rain down bread from heaven for you." Or dust. Yahweh will change the rain of your land to powder and dust. From the heaven it shall come down on you until you are destroyed. Or burning sulfur. Then Yahweh rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah. From Yahweh out of the heavens. And then finally, the logic behind sacrifices is also based on the idea that God is in a physical structure above the earth. And you can't send any objects to heaven, but you can please God with nice smells, which travel upwards in the sky. And apparently, God especially enjoys the smell of burning flesh. Then burn the entire ram on the altar. It's a burnt offering to Yahweh, a pleasing aroma. Then Noah built an altar to Yahweh, and taking some of the clean animals and the clean birds, he sacrificed burnt offerings on it. Yahweh smelled a pleasing aroma and said in his heart, "Never again will I curse the ground because of humans." So to summarize, the biblical view of heaven and God have basically nothing to do with the views of modern Christians, even if they claim to follow the Bible. Heaven in the Bible is not a place where you go after you die, it's a physical roof above the earth. And God is not in some other dimension or everywhere at once. He sits on top of this roof and he physically drops down rain and other stuff down on earth. So the religion of the Bible is basically an obsolete form of meteorology, and it has nothing to do with modern Christianity.